I think one of the hardest parts about my job reporting on tech leaks is knowing when something is real and when it's just a concept or when it's outright fake. Today, we're going to be looking at apparently the actual design of the upcoming Galaxy Z Flip 5. Now, you may remember from a couple of weeks back, I did a similar video with a very different design. This was being passed around by some of tech's biggest leakers as being possibly the correct design for the Z Flip 5. It appears now it is being kind of backtracked a bit, and now this is purportedly the final design. And I think this is actually far more believable than the design that we had before. Now, this was actually originally posted a couple of weeks ago as well, and I talked about it, but I wasn't sure if it was real or what exactly was going on there. And then today we got this article from Sam Mobile. Here's what the Z Flip 5's bigger cover screen will look like. So this was much more cut and dry. Rather than being, hey, here's the thing. Was it a concept? Is it a leak? Is it real? Is it an idea? This is being reported by Sam Mobile as being real. So let's scroll down here, and we have their little, what would you call this? I almost said photo, but that's not really accurate. Their image of what this is supposed to be. So they said the most recent rumor about the Galaxy Z Flip 5's outer display came with some concept images and a video that, according to the leakster Super Rotor, show a Z Flip design that is, what would that be, 200,000% real? That's very real. I mean, I'm used to dealing with uncertainties, maybe up to 100% real, but 200,000% real. I mean, you can take this straight to the bank, guys. The concept showed a larger, oddly shaped outer screen, and our sources have now confirmed the concept was spot on, and we have our own mock-up based on the actual design to share with you. So succinctly, Super Rotor had this design and had an image, some renders made of it. Sam Mobile reached out to their own contacts within Samsung, and they confirmed that it is accurate. Now, this is not the prettiest thing in the world, so we're going to jump over to that earlier article from March the 27th, where Super Rotor in collaboration with Technizo Concept, these renders were made, which I think are pretty accurate to the image that we just saw. And what you can see here is a cover display that is wildly improved over what we currently have, which is a relatively tiny little cover display, which is useful for some things. But when you hold it up next to the Moto Razrs of the world, the Oppo Find Ns of the world, it was definitely beginning to look like a far inferior design. Now, we also have to note that, quite strangely, the cover display kind of is almost notched, I guess you could say, or maybe it rises up on one side or to kind of go around the camera, which is a little bit odd. Perhaps this is where that original render where the camera actually went fully around the camera bump, where that came from. Perhaps someone was just verbally told, hey, the screen goes up around the camera, and they thought, oh, it goes all the way around the camera. Maybe that was where that potentially came from. But no, this is a much, probably less expensive design to create. And it does fall in line with what some other leakers were saying, like Ice Universe, who repeatedly said the screen is basically a square. This would be fairly accurate to that claim as well. Now, it's also very important to note that when you're increasing the cover display size by this large of an amount, your battery life is likely to suffer a bit from that, as much as that cover display is used. So we don't know what kind of internals we're going to be having here, other than I think I've heard 8 gigs of RAM, and then of course the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 will be there for the internals, and of course that 8 Gen 2 is far more efficient than the system on a chip that is currently employed in the Z Flip 4, which already had some battery gains, so we're expecting more battery gains in the Flip 5. Perhaps this cover display offsets that a little bit, but I would still expect the Flip 5 to have better battery life than the Flip 4, just based on what we saw with the S22 Ultra and the S23 Ultra. A similar change in the hardware is going to happen with the Flip 5, so again, battery life probably still getting a bit better in the Flip 5. I've not seen any firm reporting on the size of that battery or the camera hardware, other than that it's likely to remain a 12 megapixel primary sensor. But as more leaks occur, more information does come to the surface. You're going to want to be subscribed right here to make sure you don't miss out on that stuff. So hit that subscribe button before you go. I will see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.